Last year, Coca-Cola spent $4 billion to create a filter. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that when you walk into the grocery store or the convenience store, wherever you get your soda, you don't stare at the 100 of different options and say, I don't know what I want. What sounds good? What's interesting today? They spend $4 billion so that when you walk into those places, you go, give me the Diet Coke, give me the Coke, give me the Sprite, give me the Coke product. They spent all that money to filter away all the other products so that when you got thirsty for a soda, you reached for a Coke product. The brand they created was a filter. That's what they're doing. That money goes to building a filter. Ignore everybody else, focus on this product. We'll give you a reason why you should focus on it, but in the end, focus and filter out all the other options. That's what they do. That's what brand does. If you remember, brand doesn't happen organically. It existed because the Industrial Revolution came around and said, hey, you know how you used to buy your horseshoes and nails from the blacksmith next door, and you knew them and you knew their kids and their kids knew you and all that good stuff? So they were really well incentivized to not screw you over on their products. Well, now those things are made in a factory other side of town, other side of the country. You don't know who makes them. They have no incentive to make a good product other than to apply a brand that says, if you bought these products before and liked them, chances are, if you buy them again, you will also like these. This brand became that filter. Choose this, not that. Now, it started as a reputation, but it became that filter because it forced you to say, in infinite choice land, which is kind of where we live, what do you choose? Now, the filter works because of focus. When Coke spends $4 billion, they don't spend $4 billion saying all sorts of crazy stuff. They're really saying one thing. They say it a lot of different ways, but they're saying one thing. Coke is happiness. Happiness is Coke. $4 billion year on year on year to associate their product with people who are happy. Polar bears make people feel happy. Santa Claus makes people feel happy. Going on a first date, going to a game, having a picnic, having a barbecue makes people feel happy. There's no, hey, I'm sorry you got broken up with, have a Coke, that commercial will never be made. They're all about creating a focus on Coke equals happiness. Now, in employer brand land, as candidates have, again, infinite opportunity to choose any company they want. There are millions and millions of companies out there they could apply to. You have to ask the question, why should they choose yours? Now, you can throw up a couple of positive attributes. Hey, we're a great company. Hey, we're a wonderful place to work. Hey, we have great culture. Hey, our stock price is up. And that's nice, but it's not creating the filter because lots of companies can say that. And in fact, they do. Your challenge with attracting and hiring great people is because you haven't created that filter. And the filter is created by creating a focus. And that's why focus is the second law of employer brand, the law of focus. You need to focus on messages that matter, not thousands of messages, not hundreds or dozens of messages, a handful of messages that create the filter that says, I know why I'm choosing this company over that company. I'm going to filter out those companies to filter in these companies. For example, you're trying to hire some salespeople. Great, there are lots about, but there are also lots of companies hiring salespeople. So why should a salesperson choose to work at your company? Now, you're going to say we offer a great competitive pay package, so does everybody else. You're going to say you have great benefits, again, so does everybody else. You're going to say you have a wonderful culture, which is non-substantiated, therefore, so does everybody else. What is the reason a salesperson would filter you in or filter you out? Well, this is where you say things like, what we're looking for are salespeople who love autonomy. They don't need a lot of structure. They don't need a lot of support. They need the product. They need a direction. They need an email list or a contact list, and off they go. Maybe we're looking for the kind of salesperson who takes the initiative and makes a little content to attract more of people to their contact list. That's the kind of person we want. Great. You are now creating a focus. Salespeople who like autonomy. Now, turn it into a filter. How? By communicating that focus. Hey, we're a company that cares about autonomy. Here's 3 stories about autonomous salespeople and why they're successful and why they love the company they're working at relative to giving all that autonomy. In the job posting, you can say, look, if this is a place where autonomy matters, so if you don't love autonomy, if you need a lot of support, this is not going to be the place for you. Filter, filter, filter. That focal point becomes a filter. Now, that's a really simple example, but honestly, let's be fair, most companies aren't even doing that. But the goal of employer brand is to create a filter by building focus. The way you create that focus and the way you use that focus is often through language. You need to be incredibly specific about what you say and how you say it. You don't go all out and throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. You know what your focus is, and you need to be very concrete on what that focus looks like. It's one thing to say, hey, salesperson, we were offering a lot of autonomy. You want some? Cool. It's another to say, this is a place in which you will have complete access to everyone in the company to get the job done. You want access to marketing? You have it. You want access to product? You got it. What you need is what you're going to get, but you got to own it. That's a kind of specificity that saying we like autonomy doesn't really get into. In fact, saying we like autonomy is a nice broad claim that means nothing because you haven't backed it up. It's not until you tell stories about autonomy, use specific language, give examples, that claim, that function of focus becomes real. Specificity is what creates that focus. The problem, of course, is that employer branders tend to be employer blanders. For whatever reason, sometimes political, sometimes functional, sometimes structural, they take strong language, specific language, and they polish it until it resembles nothing, really. It says nothing. It's just a vague platitude. It's a Hallmark card. It's a motivational poster. Focus and filtering happens when you can cut to the chase, when you can say something meaningfully different. And that's the surprise that I've gone this long without saying the word different yet, but that's true. That's what focus is all about. It says, we're not that, we're this. And let me tell you exactly the way in which we are this. That's what focus creates. Realness, concreteness, credibility, value to your prospects. They're not choosing based on random claims that all seem to look the same. They're saying, that's a company that cares about this. I want that. Let's go. So here's a great example. I got two, actually. The first is Goldman Sachs, one of my favorite examples because they're crystal clear on how hard it is to work there. Crystal clear. They are 100% transparent that they are going to work you very hard, harder than you've probably ever worked. You're an 80, 100-hour work week sometimes. And in return, they give you lots of money, or the promise of lots of money down the road. And they have lots of stories and lots of examples and lots of touch points that make that idea clear. So when you're looking for a job and you see Goldman Sachs, you can filter it in by saying, I'm the kind of person who wants to give all my time to make a whole lot of money. Or you can filter it out and say, I'm not that kind of person. The next example is the Ritz-Carlton. Now, the Ritz-Carlton has probably my favorite example of a tagline that works. Right? It's not just marketing speak. It's not just a dressed up call to action. It's saying something meaningful and doing it so concisely in such a powerful way using very simple language. Here it is. We are, ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. Just take a moment with that. It's gorgeous. It says volumes about who works there, who their clientele is, what the expectations are, what the job probably feels like. That is a focus. And if you can say, I want to be a lady, I'm a lady and or a gentleman wanting to serve ladies and gentlemen, boom, the filter works. You're in. If you're like, you know what, I just want a place where I don't have to worry about that stuff. Boom, you are out. That filter is crystal clear. You've created a focal point that matters. And that's why the law of focus is so powerful. For more about the laws of employer branding, subscribe to this YouTube channel or subscribe to employerbrandheadlines.com. It's my free newsletter, and that's where I write this material first. I'll be doing it all summer long.